Alright, hey guys. We're going to start by going over the bell work, so if you put it away, you can bring it back out. The bell work asked you to match the like terms. So if you remember from your vocab, like terms have the same variable and they have the same exponent part. So for example, if we started with 2e squared, the like term would be e squared because they both have an e and they both have the square on it. So not to get confused with a term like 2e, its like term would be 10e because they just have the variable e and no exponents. Next, if we started with 2x, the like term would be negative 4x. They both have the variable term of an x with no exponent. Let's do negative 3. Okay, there's no variable with no exponent, so the like term would just be 10. They're both just constants. There's another vocab term. They're both constants, meaning they are just a number on their own. 2y and negative 2y would be like terms. They both just have that y. Let's do 3xy squared. That one actually matches up with 3y squared x. I know those are out of order, but x times y squared would be the same as y squared times x. So those are the like terms. Oh, and there's another one over here. This one matches up with both of those. I know we're getting kind of messy up here, but there's another term with x and y squared. So those three would all match up. And then lastly, negative xy would match with 4xy, since they both have an x and a y. So there's the bell work. Double check your answers. Make sure they match up with what we have up here. And then we'll get started on our notes. So you should have the simplifying expressions notes in front of you. Remember, you do need coloring utensils in order to do these notes, so make sure you have at least a couple of different color markers, color pencils, crayons, or something. If not, you're fine too. We'll figure out what to do with you when we get there. But we have a couple of blanks to fill in. We're going to start simplifying expressions today. We did it with our algebra tiles however many days ago that was. But today we're going to do it without our algebra tiles and just using our math. So, a couple of blanks to fill in. First bullet says we can simplify expressions by combining like terms. So you have to figure out which terms in the expression are alike, and you'll combine those or add those. Like terms have the same, what two things do they have to have in common? Well, they have to have the same variable and exponent. Okay, like terms have to have the same variable and the same exponent. So if one is x and one is x squared, those would not be like terms because they don't have the same exponent. So in order to simplify our expressions, I ask you to circle the like terms. We know that we can always rewrite subtraction by adding the opposite. Okay, that's a rule from last unit. We can always rewrite subtraction by adding the opposite of whatever we were subtracting. Or we can kind of do a shortcut and just circle the subtraction sign in front of the term so that we know it's negative. I'll show you both ways, but I'm actually going to stick with this method. rather than rewriting the whole problem, I'm just gonna circle the negative sign or the plus sign in front of it so I know that the term is positive or negative. Next, the property that allows us to add terms in any order, that's the commutative property. Okay, remember the commutative property says that I can add 3 plus 5 or 5 plus 3. It doesn't matter the order that I add things in. Next, when we combine like terms, we are only adding the coefficients. Remember, coefficients are the numbers in front of the variable, and that's the only thing that you're actually adding. You don't add the variable part, you just add the coefficients. And then lastly, a variable without a coefficient actually has the coefficient of, you don't remember? 1. Okay, so if you just have like x plus 2, there's like an invisible 1 in front of the x, so it could also be written as 1x plus 2. So we are gonna implement all of these things, practice all of these things with some examples. You'll see that I'm gonna go from different colors to different colors, so have your coloring utensils ready as well. So our first example is 4x plus 6 plus 2x. So remember, we want to circle the like terms. Well, the like terms here would be 4x and 2x, because they both have x and there's no exponents on there. You'll notice that I circled the plus sign in front of the 2x. That just denotes that that's a positive 2x and not a negative 2x. So let's combine those. 4x combined with 2x is 6x's. And then the plus 6 is on its own. I can't do anything with it, so I'll just carry that down. And that's it. That's all I can do to simplify that expression. And hopefully you're making the connections with what we were doing before with our algebra tiles. And you can visualize the 4x's and then the 2x's and then the 6 unit tiles. And that's really what you end up with, 6x plus 6. All right. Our next one, we have 5n plus 2 minus n minus 6. So our like terms here would be 5n and negative n, okay? Hopefully you remember that minus n is the same as plus negative n. So rather than rewriting plus negative n, I'm just going to circle that minus sign so I know that that's a negative n term. So those are like terms, but there's also another set of like terms, so grab a different color and you can circle the plus 2 and the minus 6, because those are also like, they're just constants, they're just the numbers by themselves, so those are alike. And now let's combine those. 5n and negative n is 4n. Because really that's like 5 plus negative 1, which is 4. And then 2 and negative 6, when I combine 2 and negative 6, that's negative 4. So I could write that as plus negative 4 or minus 4. So we're really going to apply that knowledge of subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. Subtracting a positive is the same as adding a negative. Okay. On to the next one. We have x squared plus 3 minus x plus 1. I know you might be tempted to think that those are like terms, but one has an exponent and one doesn't, so those are not alike. The only like terms here are actually the plus 3 and the plus 1. Okay? So you can circle those in your whatever color you'd like. The x squared and the minus x, you can't combine them with anything, so you'll just carry those down. But 3 and 1 I can combine to create 4. So our simplified expression is x squared minus x plus 4. Of course I can't scroll, so I'll be right back. All right, my next one, whoops. If z minus 4 plus 8z minus negative 2. So right off the bat, that should be kind of a red flag there. So z and 8z are alike. And so are negative 4 and minus negative 2. So hopefully you remember that minus negative 2 is the same as plus positive 2. So we can really just make that a plus 2, a positive 2. So let's combine. We have z and 8z. That's 9z. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. So you can either write plus negative 2 or minus 2. Okay? All right, next one, 3e squared plus 2e cubed plus e plus e. So we have a lot of e's going on, but remember the only ones that are like terms are the ones that have the same exponents. So that would be just these two e's at the end. Plus e and plus e are considered like terms. These two, there's no like terms, so I can't combine them. I'm just going to copy them down. 3e squared plus 2e cubed. And then e plus e, combine two positive e's, that's plus 2e. And if you weren't sure about that one, remember there's like invisible ones in front of each of those e's. So 1e plus 1e is where the 2e comes from. All right, next one, we have negative 5m plus m plus 5. The m's are obviously like terms, so negative 5m and plus 1m is like what this really is, remember? So let's combine those. Negative 5 plus 1 is negative 4m. And then the plus 5 is on its own. You can just copy that down. All right. Hopefully you're at the point where maybe you think you can do these on your own. If you want to, you can pause the video and try these on your own and then check your answers with me. But it's up to you. You can try it out if you want. Next one, we have negative e plus f minus 1 plus 2e. So my like terms would be negative e and positive 2e. The f and the negative 1 are both on their own, so I'm just going to copy those down. F and then minus 1. Then negative e, that's like negative 1e, plus 2e would be positive 1, right? So plus 1e, but you don't need to write that 1. You can just leave it as plus e. hopefully this one is not a trick problem, but hopefully you realize that none of these are alike, so there's nothing to combine, so I can't simplify this. Or you could say it's already in simplest form, or you could just copy it down, but A plus B plus C plus D is as simple as it gets. You can't do any combining there. And the last one that we're going to do together, 3x plus 2y minus 2x minus 4y. So obviously the x's are alike and the y's are alike. So I'm going to circle the x's. Don't forget to circle the minus in front of the 2x so that you know it's negative 2x. And then the y's. Circle positive 2y and negative 4y. So then combine the ones that are alike. 3x and negative 2x is 1x. 2y and negative 4y is negative 2y. And there it is. So I have a challenge one here. I want you guys to pause this and try it for yourself. Okay. Hopefully you paused it. I'm trusting you. I'm watching you. This is so weird. Okay. So start by circling the like terms. So hopefully you already did this. And hopefully you noticed that 2x squared, negative x squared, and positive x squared are all alike. And then in another color, hopefully you said that 3x is a like term with negative 2x. And then lastly, negative 10 and positive 5. So it's looking pretty right now. Let's combine though. 2x, negative x, or 2x squared, negative x squared, positive x squared. Well, right away, negative x squared and positive x squared, those are zero pairs, those go away. So really, you're just left with 2x squared. And then 3x and negative 2x leaves you with 1x. So you can just write x plus x. And then negative 10 and positive 5 is negative 5. So you could write minus 5 or plus negative 5. And again, these pieces can be in any order. It doesn't have to be the 2x squared and the x and then the negative 5. You could have negative 5 plus x plus 2x squared, or x plus 2x squared minus 5. You can have them out of order. You just need a positive 2x squared term, a positive x term, and a negative 5 term. So, hopefully you're feeling okay about this. You're going to do some practice with the quizzes here, but good luck.